Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar. We can also say prescriptive approach and descriptive approach to study language. When we talk about descriptive and prescriptive, that is mainly the domain of syntax. When you study grammar, structures, rules, language, constructions. So, first of all, we will talk about prescriptive grammar or prescriptive approach. We will take prescriptivist view of language. Try to understand the word prescribe. If you go to a medical doctor, he prescribes medicine. He tells you, he instructs, he gives you certain instructions for your health to have healthy, better life. Rules are prescribed, medicines are prescribed. Then you take those medicines, you apply those rules, you implement those instructions. So prescriptive grammar means rules are studied, rules are told first, rules come first, use comes later. Prescriptive grammar tells us what should be said, what should not be said, which sentence is grammatically correct and which is not correct, and how language should be used. Prescriptive grammar does not study how language is used, rather it studies how language should be used. And the sentences which we make should be in conformity with grammatical rules, should be in accordance with prescriptions devised by linguists or grammarians. There are formal authorities who gave certain rules which should be followed in exam or this or that. In our traditional educational system, normally prescriptive approach is used, where rules are first of all prescribed, like GTM method is employed in classroom, where tenses are taught and students are supposed to make sentences according to those tenses. For example, there is rule according to prescriptive view of grammar that we should not split infinitives. That means to cry should not be split. We should not insert any word between to and cry. Like, and to hurriedly address this issue. So hurriedly should comes first or comes after to plus first form of verb. So we should not split infinitive while using language. That is a rule in grammar. So these are different construction. So in prescriptive grammar, we are to see whether it is correct or incorrect, it is right or wrong, it is good or bad. In prescriptive grammar, we have the idea of good grammar and bad grammar. If that is in accordance with grammatical rules, we call it good grammar, we call it right, correct. And if it does not comply rules, it is not in accordance with the rules which have already been prescribed, so we call it incorrect sentence. But in descriptive grammar is non-judgmental. Non-judgmental means it does not label a sentence as right or wrong. It does not label a sentence as correct or incorrect. Rather, it tells how language is used, not how language should be used. Here, in order to understand it, we can say in prescriptive grammar, rules come first, use comes later. In descriptive, use is there, people are using it, and rules are derived from the usage. We see the regularities in the use of language, the patterns in the use of language. In prescriptive grammar, grammatical rules are explicitly told, but in descriptive grammar, rules are not explicitly told. A child is not a given set of rules. He is exposed to language. He implicitly learns all of those rules. But whenever a native speaker comes across a sentence, he can tell you whether that is right or not, that is possible or not. And descriptive grammar, we say whether it is possible or not. This kind of construction has not been seen, is not prevalent in language. So we say that this is not right sentence. So when somebody is native speaker or he has natural exposure to language, they may not be taught the rules of grammar, but still they are aware whether this grammatical construction is correct or not. So descriptive grammar is non-judgmental. Through use, they derive the construction, syntactic organization, rules, grammatical features. And in prescriptive grammar, there are certain examples where personal pronoun, objective case of personal pronoun is used sometimes, subjective case of personal pronoun is used, when it should be used. So prescriptive grammar will tell you all these rules which should be followed in the language. So these are two approaches to study grammar, to view grammar, and they have their own notions about the language. Then that all of this, at the end of this lecture, we will sum up all of these points in Urdu and Hindi for the students living in Pakistan and India. प्रेस्क्रिप्टिव ग्रामर में रूल्स पहले बता दिए जाते हैं, रूल्स को स्टडी किया जाता है और लैंग्वेज उन रूल्स के मुताबिक इस्तेमाल की जाती है, और अगर जुमला रूल्स के मुताबिक हो तो हम उसे ठीक कहते हैं, करेक्ट ग्रामर कहते हैं, नहीं तो हम उसे इनकरेक्ट डिक्लेयर करते हैं, जैसे हमारे इंडो पाक में होता है। लेकिन जो डिस्क्रिप्टिव व्यू ऑफ लैंग्वेज है या डिस्क्रिप्टिव अप्रोच ऑफ लैंग्वेज है, डिस्क्रिप्टिव ग्रामर है, वहाँ पे यूज़ को देखा जाता है, हाउ लैंग्वेज इज़ यूज्ड, एंड दे ऑल्सो टेक इनटू अकाउंट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशियो कल्चरल फैक्टर्स while studying a language. But in prescriptive grammar that is purely linguistic phenomenon. तो डिस्क्रिप्टिव ग्रामर जो है वो उस लैंग्वेज को स्टडी करती, यूज़ हो रही है उसको देख के वो बताती है कि these kind of regularities, these kind of rules, these kind of devices, this kind of subject verb agreement has been used. तो ये सारा कुछ जो स्टडी है ये डिस्क्रिप्टिव ग्रामर में होता है. I hope you understand the difference between prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar.